thoroughly enjoyed my trip to Nebraska. So, anybody see any good movies lately?
Not really, no.
Oh. Read any good books?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Anything new with corn?
Oh, yeah, corn.
Corn.
Oh,
Yeah, corn, you bet.
Corn, yeah.
Corn is always...
Come a-running, boys, don't you hear the noise? Like the thunder in the sky. How it rolls along in a good old song from the sons of Nebraska. Now it's coming near with a rising cheer that'll sweep all foes away. So with all our vim, we're bound to win, and we're going to win today. In the days of old, Johnny Vanderbold would just take that ball in hand, and with Benedict right in front of him, they would set sail for the land. Then Doc Eager too, with a chosen few, would be all round everywhere. And before they quit, they would calmly sit down behind that goalpost there. For Nebraska and the Scarlet, for Nebraska and the Cream, though they come through many battles, our colors still are seen. And so in contest and in victory, we will wave them for the team, and we'll always stir a corn husker, the Scarlet and the Cream.
Yeah, Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We are
Welcome back.
Two guys. Welcome back to the show. Glad to have you here. I know we took a week off last week after having the live show at Backswing Brewing. Want to say,
Checked it out. Sorry.
yeah, no, that's right. Want to say thanks again to Backswing Brewing for having us and for sponsoring us and providing our refreshments during our show and allowing us to be at Backswing to do our live event.
We had a lot of family, a lot of friends that showed up. It was a lot of fun. If you didn't come, we're going to do another one.
We will.
So come check it out because it was a lot of fun.
Yes, so absolutely. So excited to be here again. Excited to come back on the show. We will. We got a little insight into what's going to happen next week with Northwestern. We are going to be down at the game.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So as far as the game goes, we're going to be down there probably around 11:30ish or so. The plan is to start off at Brewski's.
Let's do it.
So that should be fun. Not really sure what the setup's going to be like yet, but we are going to be down there at Brewski's, probably on the patio. So bring your sweatshirts. Should be a nice day, though.
Yeah, and come check us out. Come have some fun. Drink a beer with us.
Please do.
We do a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah. So now, again, not really sure. We're going to figure out some more logistics around going to some tailgates. Also, probably going to do a little fun out there and say, hey, where Matt, where's Two Average Guys? Kind of do a fun little search. So we'll be at random spots and see if you can come find us, and we'll have a prize or something for you. So, but hope to meet some people down there. It'd be a lot of fun. So really hope to get some fans and get some good fan interaction while we're down there. We'll probably go into the game for a little bit too. We do have a couple tickets.
Yeah, tickets.
So we'll be going into the game and trying to interact with some of the fans as well. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, find us.
Come find us. So we'll get more details as we get closer to the game next week on what that's going to look like. We're going to be at. We'll post it on our social medias as well. All right, fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about next week. So we got Northwestern.
Should win this game.
Should. We should. We got Northwestern. They're 1-2 in the Big Ten as well. We're 1-2 in the Big Ten Conference in the West. Not a whole lot of action in the West, really. It's kind of your regular ho-hum for the last however many years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can say the biggest game of the Big Ten West was yesterday in Iowa and Wisconsin, and it's a pretty terrible game. I mean, if you stuck through it the way I did, I mean, Washington and Oregon was on, and I legitimately watched Iowa, Wisconsin. I normally have two TVs, yes, but my wife made me put the second TV away because we were having friends over and I had to clean the whole freaking house. So I legitimately passed up Oregon, Washington to watch Iowa and Wisconsin because I'm like, if it comes down to it and we need to beat one of these teams, whether it's for the West
yeah,
or just to make a bowl game, you know, what are our chances looking like? And they both play really good defense, but man, they have really bad offense. So I guess we fit right in.
Yeah. I mean, that was brutal. That was really probably one of the worst games I watched this year of college football. At one point, I think between the two teams, there were 15 punts at one point. I think it ended up probably more than that.
I understand that Iowa has a backup quarterback, and I understand that Braylon Allen went out for a little while. And not only that, but Iowa's second best player was their tight end who got hurt last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tight end that they were like, well, they're going to rely on him. And he took a brutal hit. Don't watch the replay. I couldn't watch it. He went out early, and I'm like, there's no way Iowa's going to win this game. And somehow they did. I just don't know. They have the best punter ever, I guess. And they played decent enough defense to win games. But, it was pretty rough.
When your star player is your punter and your field goal kicker, I mean, I don't want to feel good about that. I feel better that our defense is the best part of our team right now.
Yeah. And I mean, we didn't say this when, the last show we did, which was our live show. Marcus Washington got hurt. He's out for the season. It's a really, another bummer. High octane player at a skill position that's out. So our offense is depleted, and we're hoping for young guys to step up like Malachi Coleman and some of these other receivers and running backs that are already filling in. And Harburg is going to have to run the show. And I feel more comfortable with Harburg than I would have with any Iowa quarterback.
Yeah. And, I think
at least somebody that's dual threat.
Yeah, again, you mentioned the need for these young guys to step up. And Malachi Coleman, we should see a lot of him. We definitely need to see more of him. And just really any of the young guys that can step in at wide receiver right now, nobody should be off the table unless they really know nothing about the playbook. Yeah. If they know nothing about the playbook, they don't know how to run routes, they can't catch the ball, don't put them in, of course. But anybody else that's capable of being out there as a wide receiver, we need them.
Well, and I'm not sure at this point how you couldn't be at least somewhat familiar with the playbook. I mean, I get it. It can be kind of tricky, but especially with how our offense has been so far, I mean, put them in a position to make them successful, whether it's run blocking, pass blocking, or running, curl routes or out routes, whatever it is. And we haven't done any deep threats all season. Get Malachi Coleman on a deep route and see what happens. I don't want a deep route, to be honest. I don't think we have a quarterback that can throw the pass. Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, yes, Harvard has an arm. Sims can throw. They can throw the ball. They can't hit a wide receiver on a deep route. I'm not comfortable with that. That's interception written all over it. I see what you're saying, but also before Marcus Washington got hurt, we were at the half-yard line, and Harburg threw a 42-yard pass or whatever it was to Marcus Washington, back shoulder. I mean, they send Malachi deep. Yeah. Send him. Let's go.
But do it in a situation that makes sense, right?
I agree. Yeah, maybe a 2nd and 1.
I'd rather
on 35-yard line.
I'd rather do more of your tight end screens, quick passes, quick outs, the quick slants. We have guys that can run those quick routes. We just have to do it.
Well, and we're gonna really need to probably lean on those tight ends. I mean, we have good tight ends that have established themselves this year. With Fedoni and Borkature, and feed those guys the rock. I mean, maybe it seems too easy to just do that, but that's what we need to do to be successful on offense right now.
Yeah. Hey, Dalton can run a curl route. That's pretty cool. We can put him in. Put some pads on you, Dalton.
Yeah, brother.
Put some pads on you. Good luck.
We'll send you.
We'll send you. We'll send you.
We'll send you on a deep route.
He said curl route, not deep route.
No, I know. I said we'll send you on a deep route. We'll do a curl route, and then we'll do a deep route, and then if you want to do a hook and ladder like Travis Kelce, then let's do it.
Yeah, we want to do what he's comfortable with. But again, you look at the West, you look at Big Ten football right now as a whole. I mean, we're in charge of how we end the season, as we always are, right? But if you look at our next opponents and who we can beat.
We can beat any team.
We could win the rest of the games. We can. They are all winnable games. Maryland lost to Illinois yesterday at home. Minnesota we should have beat, which is a shame.
I know, it really is a shame.
Northwestern beat Minnesota in the fourth quarter, which is amazing. But we all know Northwestern is not a great team, so that's definitely a winnable game. Purdue's a winnable game. Again, Iowa's winnable, and after watching Wisconsin yesterday, the Wisconsin is zero threat.
And
we have to.
Michigan State is definitely winnable. I mean, they're all winnable, but they're all losable.
we have to become the threat.
Yeah, I mean,
We have to be a threat.
We need to get up in games early and play defense. And what are you laughing at?
Dalton runs a 5.4 40.
5.4 40.
Dalton,
Right.
it's been a couple years since I've seen you in person. I'm just gonna say that's amazing. Good, congratulations. Very, very proud of you.
I'd be surprised if I could run a 5.4 40, bro.
But
no,
really, all these games are winnable.
Yeah, they're all winnable and they're all losable, which just makes the rest of the season pretty interesting and kind of fun. Every week, like it's been for years, is just, kind of a crapshoot and kind of like I'm nervous every week. And, Northwestern is somebody that's probably the easiest team on our schedule looking forward.
Yeah.
So we've got to take care of business. And if it's, I don't care if we win ugly games, but if it's ugly early on and we get down double digits, it might be a rough way to end the season looking forward.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking optimistically.
What else are you looking?
I really do think that we can win. I think we should be bowling this year.
Oh, easy. I mean, you think about the teams that we're going to play. I would be shocked if we go down double digits against any of the teams on our schedule.
The only one I can see
none of them
us
are putting
going,
up big points.
the only one I can see us going down by double digits is Maryland because Tagovailoa is a phenomenal quarterback. We are playing them at home. I could see them jumping out early and us, coming trying to claw our way back in that one. But I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
No, nobody is a big threat. I mean, we got Michigan out the way, so
yeah.
Every game's gonna be a dogfight, and I think with the way our defense is playing, I feel pretty optimistic about us winning some of these close games that we haven't won in the past few years.
Yeah, I feel more optimistic now about winning those close games than losing them, even though the Minnesota game isn't a good measurement there. But
I think if we play that game 2-3 weeks later, we win that game.
Yeah, but I do feel like we have all the opportunity to win those games, and we have to come out on fire. If you guys saw Coach Rule's speech in the locker room, I mean, talk about a speech to fire for guys.
That was awesome.
I mean, it was good. It was a great speech, and he wants them to go grab the bull by the horns and win the damn game. And we own our own destiny. Wisconsin's not a threat. Iowa's not. None of these teams are threats. And again, we have to become the team that we want other people to be scared of us when we go to play them. Right now, no one's scared, but we have to become that team that comes out and they're like, oh crap, that's going to be tough.
Well, and Wisconsin's quarterback got hurt, and I almost felt like right away the backup came in a little scared, but I almost felt like they were a little better with him. And it's hard to say because both offenses were just so terrible.
Yes.
And Braylon Allen is awesome. And I don't know if you saw the pregame. They did like interview with him.
Yeah.
And he was like, they were comparing him to past running backs, and they were like, so like, where do you see yourself? Like how great is it that you're compared to these guys? And he was like, yeah, when I was 17 or no, younger than that, he was like 14. He's like, or even younger than that. I don't know. He was like, yeah, I watched Melvin Gordon against Nebraska, and I decided I wanted to go to Wisconsin. I was just like, oh my God, of course.
But like Percival says, Mike, 4 quarters. You got to play 4 quarters of football. We play a complete game. That's what we have to do. Iowa, Wisconsin, Casey, absolutely. After watching yesterday, I'm like, oh my God, like we could win both games. I mean,
I thought the same thing.
I just don't know how Iowa wins football game. It's the ugliest football, and their fans aren't even happy about it. Their fans are like, this is ridiculous. This is they don't like it. They don't like the style of football.
5-1 or 6-1.
Yeah. So
I mean, Brian Ferentz still hasn't met his quota.
he's not,
and he's not going to.
Yeah. And so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes. Though I do think we have a good opportunity. Again, we're halfway through. Let's get 6 more games. Let's get 3 more wins. Let's get 4 more wins, 5 more. Let's just win some football and let's look good doing it. It doesn't have to be a slaughter. We don't need to slaughter teams. We need to go in there and again play the style of football this team has. Again, I think they're trying to find that identity still.
Especially on offense.
I think they found some of that identity on offense in the run game. against, especially in the second half. We talked a lot about the second half.
Yeah.
They finally started to pitch the ball instead of just running with it. Harburg looked more comfortable in the second half than the first half.
And Grant and Emmett Johnson, they both ran the ball well.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they both had fumbles, and that's what they are trying to clean up.
Yep.
Find that identity of hold on to the football, run it down their throat as long as we can. If we need to sling it, or if Harburg needs to run, then let's do it.
Yeah.
Like that's just it.
Yeah. So we got some work to do, but again, winnable games, 6 of them in a row. We can do that, and ideally, we win 6 in a row, including being out at the end of the season. We could win the West.
Nah, we could win the West, and if we do, can we compete in the Big Ten championship?
Here's what's gonna happen. Oh, we would win the West. So yeah, can we compete? I don't know. If we go on a string of 6 games in a row and we're playing better football every game, we can hopefully compete better than what we did against the first game against Michigan.
I would think so. But that's a different topic that you bring up now that you say it. Between Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. I mean, those are 3 of the top 5 teams in the country.
7.
I know, but I'm saying after today.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. But top 5 teams in the country. I mean, how do you see that shaking out?
It's going to be tough either way. No matter who wins in the West is not going to win the Big Ten.
Well, and this is the last year that this is going to be this way. Next year it'll be
18 teams.
Yeah, and the top 2 teams will play for the championship, if that's even how it's going to work. I don't know. But Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, they're all, what if they all beat each other? I think 2 of those teams are playoff teams, and I think it's probably Michigan State and Ohio State, but maybe Michigan and Penn State. If I had to judge it right now, I'd say it's probably Michigan and Penn State. Penn State's the only team that, they blew Iowa out. And I'm not saying Iowa's good, but Iowa plays really good defense, and they won 31-0.
Yeah, and that's the first time it was shut out in a long time too. But
yeah.
And Penn State's the team that's not really being talked about much.
I know.
When it comes to Big Ten.
They're kind of that gentle giant right now, slow playing it. Okay, no one's talking about us, and we'll show you.
Ohio State's number 3 in the country, and they haven't really shown much, but that's because they started off.
They had a late lucky win against Notre Dame. And yes, Tim, Notre Dame did have a big win against USC. USC's defense sucks, but yeah, they had a big win yesterday. Congrats. But
and actually, thank you for beating USC.
I know, agreed, because they were undefeated, but they were not.
Yeah,
good.
They weren't that good.
But Ohio State beat them late, and they struggled with Maryland early.
They struggled with Maryland the entire game. Really, the fourth quarter is when they kind of pulled away.
And then Maryland lost at home to Illinois, who we just beat.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard to say. College football is crazy. We love it. That's why we do this.
And this is going to be an interesting year. And we'll get to the AP here in a second because we normally don't do that, but we're midway through the season.
And it's a bye week.
So we'll talk all football. But one thing, if you look at, like Casey, you said about the fumbles, there are a lot of stairs at Memorial Stadium. You get those boys running. I don't know if that, you look at that type of punishment. I don't know if that helps you hold on to the ball, but you're not going to want to run those stairs again. So you're going to hold on. You're going to hold on to the damn ball, right?
You would think.
But Casey, I kind of like your prediction too. You think that I think Penn State's better than Ohio State. I do. I think they're the better team overall. I think they play better defense. I think they have the better opportunity to beat Ohio State. But yeah, Michigan and Penn State, that could be one of the better games this weekend of the season.
And I was watching, it was either halftime or post game. I think it was post game of the Michigan game yesterday, Michigan, Indiana. And Chris Peterson, former Washington coach, former Boise State coach, he had really good insight. He was like, Michigan's not flashy.
No.
And they just wear you down, play good defense, and they just kind of do what they need to do. And then all of a sudden you look up and they have 400 yards of offense and 52 points. Yeah. And you're like, they didn't really do anything though. And it's like, yeah,
they don't have to. And that's the thing about college football that makes things great. You don't got to be flashy. You don't have to.
he's like, they don't score defensive touchdowns or special teams touchdowns. It's just like you look up in the scoreboard and you're like, whoa, that was kind of a boring game, but wow, if you look at the stats, that looks like they're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
and Alfred, very good point. Yes, the bye week is over. You are correct. We are on Sunday, so it is officially Northwestern week. So good point. Thanks for calling us out on that one.
What Teach say? Penn State #1 defense in the nation and number 2 in scoring D.
Again, and
That's
real quick,
make it fun.
Before we get to that, so Casey also thinks Ohio State's going to be Michigan.
I disagreed, but
anything can happen. I mean, they've lost to Michigan 2 years in a row.
I get it. There's a lot of motivation for that game.
I do think Michigan is still the better team.
Rivalry games are different. It's like Nebraska versus Oklahoma back in the day, or Nebraska versus Colorado. Colorado could be 3-8 and give us a test.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Texas. I mean, that game is a crapshoot every year, so you never know.
But back to Penn State, like. Again, defense, offensively ranked in the country. But again, no one's talking about Penn State. If you listen to anybody talking college football, any game that you watch, they're not mentioned. They're not even in anybody's breath. Not in 100 miles. Like, they don't care. So Penn State's just like, we're just going to keep on rolling and keep on doing our thing. And then, boom, we're going to get this game, and we're going to go out there and do our thing. And so I've watched, I think, maybe 2 Penn State games this year. I've been impressed with them. But I want to see what they can do when they do play this weekend. I'm really excited. That's going to be a fun game. We're not going to be able to watch it, but
unfortunately, it's big noon kickoff.
Yes.
And we're going to, maybe we could watch it.
We'll be able to watch something.
If we have tailgate.
We'll be at Brewski's tailgate.
I'll have it on my phone while we're driving down there.
Oh, yeah, you will, yeah. So, it's going to be actually a pretty fun weekend of football. And I think football right now is probably the most exciting half of football.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of parity.
Yeah, total parity. Georgia has won their 24th in a row record, whatever. But they're also not flashy. They're not flashy either. And maybe that's going back to it of like, we'll see, But a lot of Florida State's really good. They are really pretty good.
Florida State's an interesting team. Well, before we'll get there, let's get there in a second.
Sorry, I stepped on your toes a little bit.
You step on my toes. I think we want to transition. Talking Husker football, we'll go into the NCAA overall college football, how we're doing, what that looks like, the landscape, because it is interesting right now. And we'll talk about Florida State. But as far as Huskers go, again, we're going to be down there at the game next week. We're going to start off at Brewski's. The game's going to be on there too. That Michigan and Penn State game. Come on down to Brewski's. We'll be on the patio. Excited to meet some people. Come see us. We will be wearing our shirts.
Hopefully it's not too cold, or we'll be wearing hoodies.
I don't know. Hopefully we have our hoodies in time. But
if we have our hoodies in time, we'll be wearing our hoodies.
We got these badass T-shirts. We're going to have some stickers. We also have a tumbler now as well. So we have a tumbler. It's going to flash on the screen here in a second. So
that's cute.
Nice little tumbler there. Kind of looks pretty cool. Like the skull's wearing a sunglasses.
Not like Dion.
Not like Dion. They're not Dion sunglasses. So this isn't going to cost you a lot of money.
That could get into a whole nother topic on that. But wait.
We don't need to. We'll talk about them in a second too.
That's what I mean.
But we will. If you guys are interested in merch, again, these are just a few things we've gotten for ourselves so far. Just see how they fit, how they look. We'd love to get you guys some merch. So we got T-shirts, we got tumblers, we're gonna have stickers.
These coasters are pretty.
We got coasters. They got a QR codes on the back to our social media. So we'd love to have
koozies like Mike's and Brev's right here.
Sitting and sipping koozies. Yeah. Koozies are big. Hats,
whatever.
We got some ideas. So, but right now, the few things that we have, T-shirts are pretty easy to get. They come in pretty fast as well. We'll throw it up on our Facebook as well. So if you guys are interested in ordering a T-shirt, then we can get an idea what that looks like. So we'll throw it out there, figure out how to do that as well. But they're pretty cheap too. They're like $16. So nice deal for a T-shirt. They're comfortable.
I bought
tri-blend.
I bought 2 T-shirts at shop that I'll keep to myself, and it was like $80 for 2 Husker shirts. So sorry.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
No one knows what I'm saying.
Nobody
I didn't
knows.
want to throw him under the bus because I love them. But
yeah, these shirts are super comfortable. And again, for like $16, $15-16 for a t-shirt, and you get to wear 2 Average Guys logo, and people can say, "Hey, who are you?"
And not only that, it's badass.
It is bad. It's a pretty sweet logo, I gotta admit. So, but yeah, we got some ideas down the road as well. So if you guys are interested in some merch, would love to be able to see that and see some people wearing our merch around town too. So, all right. Let's go ahead and hop into NCAA college football as a whole. We talked about Big Ten football already, Big Ten standings, how we feel the East is gonna play out. Before we go into the NCAA football, the West, here's my prediction, and it's not gonna make you happy. Iowa's gonna win the West. They don't have to be.
It's not gonna make me happy.
They don't have to be a pretty team right now. The hardest part about Iowa right now is nobody is beating their defense. It doesn't matter how bad their offense sucks. I mean, all Wisconsin had to do yesterday was score one more touchdown. Well, they could have won 13 or one touchdown. They could have scored won 13-12.
Iowa kicked that field goal late so that they went up by 9.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Wisconsin had a turnover late in the game too.
Yeah, they did.
And they had the ball with like 2.5 minutes left to go down the field and win the game. They didn't do it. Iowa couldn't even score a touchdown, but they had to kick a field goal. And guess what? 15-6. Horrible game.
It was absolutely brutal. But going back to my point from previously, if you want to talk not just Big Ten football, but full landscape. Sorry, the girlies are down here. But that's why I said I'm so impressed with Penn State.
Yeah.
You said no one's been able to test that defense, and they were the ones that did it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Casey, absolutely. Again, as soon as we get the tumbler's actually pretty awesome too.
Dude, the tumbler's badass.
It's badass. And, cold drinks, hot drinks, whatever. But yeah, we'll get it up on figure out how you guys can order that so you actually get it shipped directly to your house rather than us having to ship it to you. We'll figure that out though. We'll put it on the site as soon as we get it up and running. But excited to get you guys some stuff.
Are these updated rankings?
So
they dropped Penn State a spot? Never mind. Take back what I said, I guess.
Well,
or what you said. No one's talking about them.
Well, yeah, and what's interesting about dropping Penn State a spot, so as we go into our rankings here, we got Georgia 1, 7, no, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State. I'd say the only team I do not like in the top 4 right now, again, I'm going to say it is Ohio State.
Agreed.
I haven't been impressed with the way they played the game. Again, Purdue 41-7, no one cares. It's Purdue. They're not a very good team. They've struggled in some games.
We'll struggle with them, but they're not a very good team.
Yeah. So I just, naturally. But again, I think Florida State, I think is slotted in the right spot. Again, I will talk about them in a second. But you get into the last 5 through 9. Oregon, Washington was a great game yesterday.
If anything, and it was, yes, I'm not taking anything away from that. What I'm saying is, if anything, I would say Washington should be up in that top 4 right now. Like if the college football playoff rankings came out right now, that was one of the best wins of the season so far.
Yeah. So it was one of the best head-to-head matchups. Actually, you can say Oklahoma has even a better win, beating Texas when they were number 3.
Agreed. And
Oklahoma jumped up 2 spots, or Oklahoma dropped a spot because Washington jumped up 2. So,
and I can see why Oklahoma's up there because they beat Texas and Texas beat Alabama. I get it. And it's a television show every year when they come out with the college football playoff rankings. They're going to do something to mix everything up. When it comes out with rankings every week, it's just to get people talking.
In Alabama, lots of injuries to OSU. You're right. Very good point. Alabama, they shouldn't have won yesterday.
No, they were up 24-3 or whatever it was, and they won by 24-21, whatever it was.
And they should not have won that game.
I didn't watch it, so I can't really say anything.
I watched most of the second half, and it was just not. There was a third down play where Milroe threw a pass as he's getting hit. And, of course, the announcer was like, what a pass. He threw it just over the defense. I'm like, dude, that was lucky because he actually threw it behind his receiver, and his receiver was smart enough to stop his feet and catch that ball. I mean, he was running a route to the right, and the ball was definitely not going to make it to him to the right. But he found a way to stop his momentum and catch that. That was not on.
So what you're saying is they bought their – players, and that if you want to complain as a fan base, you should donate to the school to buy players.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
it's busting out my inner stoops.
Yeah. So, but it's just interesting. Like Alabama, again, they were still talking about Alabama making the college football playoff. They're not going to make it. They are not. And again, we're looking at a standard of what we've seen for Alabama football for a while. They're not that standard.
They are definitely not.
Ohio State, they're not that caliber like they've been for the last few years. So
Michigan is.
So when I say they're bad team or they're not that good, it's not because they're bad teams. It's because they're not what they've been.
They're going to be 10-2, 11-1 teams. But
exactly. They're still going to do what they need to do to win.
Are not as good as they have been.
Yep.
And they are slotted to go to the playoff ahead of the season. And this committee is just like, well, it's Alabama, as opposed to like, say, I don't know, I have to pull the rankings up again, but say like, and I know Washington went to the playoff once.
Yeah.
And they hung with Alabama when they did. But say it's Alabama versus Washington, and they both have one loss, and Alabama doesn't have a conference champion. Well, they would have a conference championship.
Yep.
That's hard to say. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when it comes down to it, they're going to pick the bigger brand when it comes down to it. And that's kind of what I hate about the whole deal.
So, Casey, you mentioned, that 15-yard penalty on Alabama. Absolutely, that changed. That was the momentum swing that was needed in that game that Alabama didn't need. That actually potentially changed the outcome of the game, but it didn't.
For Arkansas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, you're looking at Arkansas. I mean, who's Arkansas been? Nowhere, right? Bottom of the SEC. But they played a good game still, and that penalty was big. Kayla, great to have you on the show. I feel like we haven't seen you in a few weeks.
Kayla, what's up?
And I don't know why you weren't at backswing, but you should have been.
You should have been.
Anyways, come out to our next time. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yes, we will.
But when it comes to the brand you talked about, we can go back. We can have a whole show on this because you know how much it drives me nuts. Preseason rankings.
Yes, we've talked about it since we started doing the show in 2015.
But everything also changed with preseason rankings when you started to do the playoff picture, the 14 playoff.
Mm-hmm.
That changes things dramatically because rankings don't need to come out until those playoff rankings come out.
I totally agree.
Week 7, week 8, even week 6 is better than week 1 to have preseason because you're basing it off of not just what the team did previous year, but also who they have coming back and who they have coming in. So the way you rate those teams, it doesn't really make sense. Again, in Ohio State, are they really a top 5 team? I don't think so. But how would you rate a Michigan? How would you rank it Iowa? How would you rank all these teams?
Right.
It's hard to say, but at the same time, let's get that full body of work. You got 2 weeks where most teams play slack teams in the first 2, 3, 4 weeks. After that, you start to get into conference play. Conference play is what's going to matter. It's going to get you that next level. Your out of conference games that are against teams that are not your D2, D3, whatever. It changes the way college football looks as a whole, but you're ranking them early in the season. So someone like Ohio State's not going to drop when they have a bad game and have a fourth quarter, explosion. But the whole game, they were awful before that.
Well, and we've talked about it for years, but when you have a team in the top 10, and I'm not naming any names, but a team that gets ranked in the top 10 every year, and then no, sorry, not just them, but you have a team
Texas. Sorry, I can keep going.
USC.
USC.
You have teams that get ranked really high early on, and then I can take it back to like Johnny Manziel when he played for Texas A&M. Okay, they played, I want to say, LSU or something on the first week of the year, and they had them preseason like 24, and they beat LSU, and they jumped them from 24 to like 3.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, how can a team jump 21 spots after 1 week of the season when most of the other teams, they play non-Power 5 teams and just script it out and win 50-7, whatever.
Well, and LSU is the same way. They've been ranked in the top 10 for a long time. Texas, I mean, 1 year they had 4 losses and they got ranked in the top 6 the next year.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. Like, did they really improve that much because of one player? No.
Well, and especially like in Ohio State, you lose CJ Stroud, who not unbelievably, he's actually probably the best quarterback that came out of last year's class. Bryce Young for Carolina, not doing very well for Carolina. Not from Carolina, for Carolina.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Bryce Young, not doing very well for Carolina. CJ Stroud has been killing it for the Texans, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure. I haven't been able to keep up with what was going on in the game right now, but they lose their quarterback, and they have, it's a new quarterback.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said, give it like half the season before you do rankings, because teams that are really good, that have a new quarterback, whether it's a true freshman or somebody that's just been waiting to take their turn because they're behind a number 1 draft pick.
Yep.
You just don't know. And a team like Ohio State that loses like their whole offensive line, like how is it that they rank them in the top 10?
Yeah.
Like how can you be top 10 when you lose like 20 guys to the draft?
Yeah. Yeah. And you have 5 stars coming in, but if they haven't seen the field, you have no idea.
Yeah.
And let's talk real quick. Tim made this comment here. USC is still, he says, a top 3 team in the country, even though you just want us to talk about Notre Dame. I know that's why you made that comment.
Notre Dame has 2 losses. Let
me tell you. USC is not as good as they're branded. They're branded because of Lincoln Riley.
Top 3 offense.
The only reason. Even then,
possibly.
If you watch Caleb Williams play, I don't think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. I could be wrong.
The scouts are saying that he's the best quarterback that's ever going to come out of college football.
I could be wrong. They are very high on him because of who his coach is.
Yeah.
He is not a bad quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He is not. But I just do not see him. It's hard to even see him as the number 1 quarterback coming out of the draft. There's a lot of good quarterbacks. Maybe the ones that are actually going to go to the NFL, maybe. But I'm not sold on USC.
They can't play defense.
I thought Notre Dame was going to win yesterday. I'm not surprised.
I picked them too.
I'm really not surprised.
Like Tim said that they were favored, and I was like, I'm not surprised. He's like, they're favored by 3 or whatever. And I'm like, well, home.
Yeah.
If you call it an even game, you give the 3 to the home team. And I'm like, I think they're going to win by more than that.
Ooh, Xavier Watts had 2 picks.
He did, and he had a scoop and score. Tim said,
"Nice good job, Xavier. That's awesome. Like, good Omaha kid. Always love seeing that. I wish he was at Nebraska.
School's 2 miles away.
2 miles away. But yeah, again, Caleb. Yeah, the Heisman. I mean, Caleb very well could have lost the Heisman in that game, right then and there. He was the Heisman favorite.
Did you watch the pregame with freaking Matt Leinart and Brady Quinn?
Oh man,
it was freaking hilarious because they were walking the field where they played when they essentially drew up a play for Brady Quinn, and he didn't run.
Yeah,
Charlie Weiss is like, you're running it in, and you're gonna win. We're gonna win. You're gonna win the Heisman.
Yeah,
we're gonna go to the national championship.
Yep.
And he ran it in. They scored, and there was like a minute 20 left, and Leinart threw a sick pass. Sorry, Tim. He threw a sick pass, and then they got down. He fumbled it out of bounds. There's 7 seconds left, and then Reggie Bush looked at Matt Leinart and was like, "Hold on to the ball. I'll get you in." And USC was scrambling to run up, like to call play. They didn't even like call the play.
Yeah.
Matt Leinart literally just got the ball and
Bush push.
And the Bush. Yeah. And
which is now the Philly shove or whatever.
And Brady was just shaking his head on the field, and he's like, should have been. He threw a flag out of his pocket. He pulled a flag out of his pocket, threw it. And he goes, "Now I know you can do it," but he's like, back then, nope, it was illegal.
Yep, it was illegal. And I got to agree, Casey. I think again, we talk about quarterbacks. Going back to that quarterbacks, Caleb Williams. Was it Drake May, North Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic, Casey. Absolutely, he is probably one of the best in the.
Yeah, I hope that the Bucks draft him.
I also think you have Penix at Washington,
and you have JJ McCarthy.
Incredible. Bo Nix is better than Caleb Williams, if you ask me. And Bo Nix, when he started at Auburn, I mean, he's 6 years old, but yeah, he's great. But when he started at Auburn, I'm like,
no, he was good. I get it.
I didn't think
when he was at Auburn, no.
Well, he was a freshman, and they were high on him because of his dad.
Big guy, SEC.
He's much better now.
He is
much better now than
26 years old. But yeah.
Yeah. Can we not talk about Notre Dame to when join the conference? They're gonna have to.
That's gonna probably trigger Tim a little bit, but I love it, Casey.
They're gonna have to join a conference if they ever want to make the playoff with all this conference realignment. They're gonna have to join. When you get whooped up by Louisville, who
yeah, that was
you might have to.
It's pretty tough sledding there, and they didn't have very many rushing yards. But when it goes to 12,
it
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
When they have a
just
12-team
gonna be-
playoff,
Good point.
it doesn't matter.
Good point.
4, yeah, I can
Yeah.
definitely agree, but 12, I mean, shit, they can make it every year.
Yeah, true. But I do agree. I think our top 10 is pretty solid right now. That Texas, Oklahoma
They
again.
only dropped Oregon once.
I think that's fine.
I suppose.
They probably could have stayed pretty even because that was a pretty big
Which is
match.
good that they didn't like jump Alabama up to like 8.
Yeah, Alabama shouldn't have moved. Actually, Alabama should have dropped. I would move Oregon State above Alabama, if you ask me. But again, there's just Notre Dame's still 15. They lost to Louisville, which I think is a little crazy. But that win against the top 10 USC jumped them up 6 spots. So I think that's a little outrageous. But again, what are you gonna do? You got
I get it, but
USC dropped to 8.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so we'll see. There's still a lot of
The
football
one thing
left.
I hate. Oh no, they did jump actually Iowa into it.
No, Iowa was even. They were 24 last week.
Oh, okay. What I don't like is when they add these SEC teams in with all these freaking losses that they have. I'm sorry.
Like your 5-2 LSU. LSU. Oh man, they jumped 3 spots. They had a big win. They beat Tennessee this weekend. Is that who they beat?
No, because Tennessee jumped. I don't know.
I don't remember who they beat.
It doesn't
Either way,
matter.
it doesn't matter. They're not going to make it in the playoff, and that's okay. But Florida. Let's get back to Florida State. Florida State's an interesting team to me right now. They are good. I love the quarterback. I actually really like the quarterback
really
a lot.
good.
Every interview they do with him is just incredible. Like he's a very standout kid.
Yeah, you've seen Carricker post about it.
Yes, he is.
For sure.
What's his name? Jordan Davis?
I think that's
Something like that. Yeah, Tennessee. Oh yeah, Tennessee beat A&M. Thanks.
Yeah, barely, but all right.
And sorry, I missed your Kayla. You also mentioned that Vandy hung up 20 on Georgia. I think that was a little unexpected.
It was 30-20 late.
Yeah.
And Georgia had a long touchdown run.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Georgia is by far the better team. It's just maybe they overlooked Vandy a little bit
On the road at Vandy, I mean, I guess.
Yeah,
Whatever.
but Florida State is intriguing to me because they have a lot of they don't have a lot of weapons, but they have a quarterback who's a hell of a good leader. He's the kind of quarterback that when they talk to him, I'm like, I want him on my team. Like I want him to play for Nebraska. He's very well spoken. He always talks about his team before him. He is your team guy. He is a captain on that team. To me, he's fun to watch, and he's a good player, hell of a good player. And he's a kid who almost gave up football because I can't remember where he started before he transferred to Florida State, but it was one of those things where he wasn't going to get to play. He struggled. He got injured. Okay. All these things kind of piled up, and he's just like, I don't know if this is for me anymore. And he talked to some buddies, talked to his coaches, and they're like, we're going to leave it up to you, but if you put in the effort, you could play. We want you to play. And now he's at Florida State, and he's killing that. And I think that's the kind of kid that.
Yeah, I've heard some of his interviews.
He's literally got nothing to lose.
He's really good. So.
Yeah, he's got nothing to lose. And right now he's got everything to win because he's kind of that dark horse to me. He could be in the Heisman race too.
Well, and when it comes down to it, they're obviously going to have to pick the players that they want to have at the Heisman. That it's going to be J.J. McCarthy.
I don't even know if McCarthy will be there, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, but
he doesn't.
Corum, or
I know
they have to have teams that are going to make the college football playoff. They have to have players from that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Unless there's like an Ndamukong Suh, you know what I mean, who should have won it. By the way, he's on my calendar right there. If you can't see it, which you can't, but unless there's a player like that, which I don't know that there is one this year, they have to have players from the top teams at the Heisman.
And it's turning into a quarterback award, which when you look at that, you look at your Drake May, your Penix. You look at
and those teams are up there. I get it.
Caleb Williams will be there. Sanders shouldn't be there. Who knows?
What do you mean? You mean Deion? You think Deion will be there?
Deion might be there. It's all about Deion. Right? So, Deion lost, not Colorado.
Speaking of which, and I'm gonna go off topic here real quick, and we can go back to that, or we can wait.
Go ahead. No, go.
Okay,
ahead. Colorado.
So Colorado played Friday night, late night, Pac-12. Love it.
And Deion was pissed.
He was pissed
He's
ahead
like,
of time.
8 o'clock games, dude.
The dumbest shit ever because they were playing a late night game. Yeah, because the East Coast, it would start at 10 on the East Coast on a Friday night. So the voters and the publicity would not be in on that.
Yeah.
That's why he was pissed.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
He wanted the limelight.
Sorry. So anyway, the game transpired the way that it did, which we all loved. I actually shut it off unbelievably. It was 29-0 at halftime, and I was like, why am I still watching?
Why am I
game?
watching? Yeah, yeah.
And so I think I turned on a hockey game, turned on Netflix, whatever. And I went to bed and I woke up in the morning and I went on to Facebook, whatever, went on Twitter, and it was like a meme of Colorado losing. I'm like, there's no way Colorado lost. So pulled it up and I looked it up, and I think I texted you guys. It was like 7:45 because the pups woke me up early, and I was like, "Oh my god, yes!"
That's scary. So the memes were fantastic.
Oh, dude, they're amazing. So aside from that, so I see a presser of Dion after, and he had his sunglasses off, which was unusual,
Pretty funny.
but okay, and you have to look it up. Literally, if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's like, yeah, I've never been through this before, and I didn't know how to deal with this, and I did this, and next time I'll do this. And I'm like, you said absolutely nothing about your players or about the team, the program, whatever. It was all about him, and I could not be more disgusted.
I wouldn't, and that's the thing. Like, I think that's why people have a problem with Dion. It's not because Colorado's got a decent team, and it's not even about the players on the team. It's about him and his son. It's about Shedeur and him. They are the same. For one, they like to flash. They like to flash their watch, which is the dumbest thing ever.
I mean, we can talk about that too.
20,
I'll circle back to that in a minute. 29-0
at half, and you come out, and at halftime, I know you can do scheduled posts, but there was stuff.
I think it was probably a scheduled post, but go ahead.
Maybe not. Who knows? He's in the locker room, Shedeur, and during the halftime, he's got merch going up for people to buy. Who the hell wants to buy boxers that say Shedeur Sanders on them? What dude is gonna buy? What girl's gonna? I don't know. That's the dumbest thing ever. But crack totally me up. I'm like, who's buying boxers that say Shedeur Sanders?
Totally agree.
But hey, make your money, man. Make your money. But again, as you said, Dion after the game, it's all about him.
Everything.
Dude, talk about what your players did good and didn't do well. Your son still threw for like 400 yards.
Yeah, he still had a great game. I'm not taking anything away from that.
Exactly. But talk about the game.
Be like, you know what? We need to make some adjustments on defense. Still love my guys. They're working their butts off. We just need to put them in better positions to make plays. Whatever it is.
Yep.
Anything like that. Nope. It's all about him.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Shedeur thing last weekend, that pissed me off so much. That pissed me off already. And then for Dion to say, well, he needs, we need to give him a watch deal because he's not doing this for free. That pissed me off even more.
It's all flash. It's all show. It's all about him. It's all about Shedeur. And
I'm not saying that what's his name from Oregon, was in the right because he called them out, and he was doing it for clicks as well. But he called them out saying, "Were you trying to win a football game?" And they're trying to do whatever they do for clicks. Yeah, he was doing it for the spotlight as well, but he was calling them out for doing it 1,000 times more than anybody has ever done.
Yeah. Hey, Cam Taylor-Britt, back-to-back games with interceptions. Boom, baby.
Let's go.
It's one of those things where I think that's what people are more disgusted with. It's all about Dion. It's the Dion show. It's not about the boys on that team that are playing hard and trying to do their best. He gets pissed off about the defense. He's more he doesn't say anything about when his offense screws up. It's all about the defense when they mess up.
Right. And there was a clip of him, one of the corners. I was gonna say defenders. Or guys on defense, but one of the corners who got burned all game long.
Yep.
Dion must have said something to him, and he was took his helmet off and was screaming at Dion on the sidelines. And it's yeah, man, you gotta have some type of rapport. You can't just flash everything.
Hey, he said culture doesn't matter.
He did say that.
So that's gonna bite you in the ass maybe when culture doesn't matter.
And the other thing that's funny is, to me, if he came in and cut 80 players and brought in 80 players or whatever it was, 90 5 players. To me, if I'm on that roster and I'm not Travis Hunter or well, he's going to go off anyway, but if you're not like a substantial player on that team, I would be worried that next year you might get cut.
Or you might not play at all again.
Yeah.
But,
or they're going to come and say, you might want to transfer.
Yeah.
You don't have a scholarship anymore.
We're going to bring in another 40 players.
Yeah. He will definitely bring in another 40 players.
If he's going to do whatever he needs to do to win.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned earlier, Travis Hunter got mossed. He did get mossed.
You got freaking worked,
listen, here's the problem. Travis Hunter is a hell of an athlete.
He's
great receiver, great defender.
Not trying to talk crap about a kid.
Pick a side.
Yes.
He's not going to be able to do it all season, especially after that injury.
And
shouldn't be doing it.
A lot of what I heard was he got worked on defense, but here's what he did on offense. And it's like, okay. Or it was, well, he could have been better on defense, but he did this on offense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, then, like you said, pick a side. If you're a corner, play freaking corner.
Yeah.
If you want to play receiver, which you maybe could in the NFL, I think you'd probably be better at corner. But I don't know. He's undersized. I don't know.
Deion wants him to be Deion. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Deion wants Travis Hunter to be Deion Sanders. And that's what
exactly.
Hey, Hunter, you're a great athlete, but you are not going to make it a D1 football in Pac-12
undersized
in any conference playing 2 sides of the ball. You're just not going to do it.
Deion's a tall dude, and he's freaking fast as hell. Hunter's great, but he's not Deion.
Yeah. And yeah.
I mean, not very many people in this world are Deion as an athlete.
Or as a person, really.
Nope.
As a person.
I sure hope you don't aspire to be.
Yeah. But, anyways, so we got a tangent on Colorado. Sorry, we don't want to. So many social media outlets, including Husker pages, just go on and on about Colorado. And I'm glad we don't do it on our social media. So we'll stop there. Hard stop. Hard stop.
I went off on a tangent, and that was it.
Yeah, so hard stop.
Hard stop. Hard stop.
But this season is going to be interesting. I think we have a lot of fun games going on the rest of the year. This weekend's going to be fun. Again, #1 game this weekend. Obviously, your Huskers and Northwestern. Great game.
It's #1 game.
It's the Big West matchup.
We're going to be
#1 game. And we do hope to get in and do some live stuff in the game as well with some fans.
We'll see what happens.
We got some ideas.
Get a slice of Val's. Or 4, maybe.
4? Maybe do a Runza. Probably do some Where's Waldo down in the rail yard or something like that. We'll have some fun. If you guys are going to be at the game, let us know. Or even if tailgating, we want to come find you. We want to talk to people that.
Yeah, we're going to be popping around tailgates. So let us know where you're at.
We want to know where you are. We want to come find you. We want to come talk to you. You don't even have to get on camera.
You can get on camera, though, if you want to.
If you want to. A lot of people don't like to. So if you don't want to, that's fine. But if you want to, you can be on with our pretty faces. Brian's going to be there as well.
You can be sober or you can be freaking wasted.
Yeah, and actually, and I'll tell you, Brian, our producer, is probably more fun than we are. He's definitely funnier, smarter. And we wouldn't be here without him.
He's got a lot more attributes.
I'm gonna actually cheers our producer Brian, because without him, I don't know what we would do. He's amazing. He is also our cousin. Hey, there we go. He's our cousin. We love him a lot, and we're so happy to have him on the show. He's been doing this with us since day 1 as well. So
this season's been a lot of fun. We've already had more fun, I think, this season than we've ever had.
And we actually put him to work this year. He put himself to work. We didn't ask all this, but
he put himself to work. Just come sit and hang, and now we say producer, but now he's like, dang, you guys really put me to work.
It is the best thing ever, though. So, again, we'll be at the game next weekend. Thank you to Backswing for getting in touch with Brewskis. Again, we'll find a spot down there when we go. Very, very excited. Kayla, yes, we will get those T-shirts up again. Again, the merch. We'll put a few things out there.
Yeah, the shirts are tight.
Figure out how we want to do it. The T-shirt's pretty badass. Hopefully, we have our sweatshirts for next week, so you get to actually see the sweatshirt as well. But we got a few things we're trying to figure out so people can get some merch too. So it's always fun. You have anything else to add before we end? Anything college football, Big Ten that you want to talk about?
I look forward to that Penn State-Michigan game. I think that's probably one of the biggest games of the season this year, and that's going to have ramifications on how this college football playoff plays out. To me, I think Penn State's better than Ohio State, so I think so. But national media-wise, you never know.
And one thing. Oh, that's a good point. It's interesting when it comes down to the very last 4 or 5 weeks of the football season, how things shake out. And again, I feel like this year I've watched more games, not just Husker games, than I have in the past. Because I feel like now, as much as I don't like the transfer portal, as much as I don't like buying players, NIL, and all these things, the way it happens, you get more parity. Again, look at some of these top quarterbacks.
I think so too.
You're getting a lot of good football across college football landscape, which I remember when I was in college. Man, I didn't just watch the Huskers. I watched anybody that was on TV. I'd watch them, and I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that type of enjoyment anymore that I used to have, but it's getting better. And I think it's because of the parity that we see in college football, and it's growing over the last couple of years, especially. And this year might be one of the best years of college football in quite some time, in my opinion. Just because
I totally agree,
especially with conference realignment coming up.
Well, and
look at the Pac-12. Who the hell are you?
I know. Well, and that's going to shake itself out too. So I mean, these first 6 weeks have been like, wow, the past Pac-12 actually is the best conference, but it's going to play itself out. Oregon played Washington yesterday, but yeah. I totally agree with you on like this has been like a really fun season, and I'm on page with you as well. I used to just watch every game, and that was when Nebraska was good. So it'd be like, well, we need to watch this game because of these teams and this and that. And now it's like I'll watch a game just because of certain players or because this game is going to be pretty good just because of this or that, or this game's going to be really bad because it's Iowa and Wisconsin. No, that's not why I watched it. It just was really bad. I don't know.
Like Oregon Washington was a great game to watch.
No, and that's what I mean. Like there's just a lot of different reasons to watch, and it's been a really fun season so far.
And in case you're at Penix, remember he was at Indiana. He was a Big Ten quarterback.
And he was good. Indiana was really good that year.
Yeah, and then he transferred because it was the best option for him.
Yeah, I mean,
Washington came in with the
well, and
you want to live in Indiana or do you want to live in Washington?
Indiana's never going to win the Big Ten. They were never going to win the Big Ten East or the Big Ten itself. They were not going to be able to beat Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State in the same season and go to the playoff. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely. So, and so he went to Washington. It was the best thing he did, and again, for him, it worked out. So good for him. I definitely think a collab shirt would be fun. Backswing, Drew Alar, fun to watch next week. Absolutely. There's a lot of fun stuff. You make your wife, Casey, I love you. You just watch as much as you can to make your wife mad. That's funny. That's good.
You know what's funny is my wife doesn't really. I mean, she doesn't really care about football, but Nebraska, yes. But she gets mad. She finally is at my point where like we get mad. So the other night when sorry, I hate to bring up Swifty, but the Chiefs game was on and Kelsey had like a 40-yard reception and they just showed Swift, obviously. And she was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, oh, so annoying. And she had to remind me, babe, that's what you do though when Nebraska has a catch that's for 40 yards. And I'm like, you're right. I'm like, oh my God. You know?
So I apologize, Casey. Yes, it makes your wife mad, not to make your wife mad. I read that wrong. And once the beer starts flowing, you know, hey,
either way.
First goal, 5-0. 5-0.
5.2. 5.2.
5.2. You guys are fantastic. This has been fun. We're going to wrap things up. Again, Northwestern next week. We'll have more details coming out this week on what that's going to look like. Thank you, Backswing, again for the beer. Thank you for the collab. Everything we're doing. This has been fantastic. Hell of a great year. We're halfway through the season, hitting the second half here at Northwestern next week. Let's go Big Red, and let's finish strong. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
I'm Jimmy.
I'm Matt. That was weird. Hold on, let's try it again. I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're 2 happy guys. Thanks. Appreciate
it, guys.
See
you next week.
Come on, good game, everybody, yeah.
Pat, I think it's safe to say that all these fans came out here to watch a game of football.
John, we're in commercial.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making conversation. Come on, football!
Come a-running, boys, don't you hear the noise? Like the thunder in the sky. how it rolls along in a good old song from the sons of Nebraska. Now it's coming near with a rising cheer that'll sweep all foes away. So with all our vim, we're bound to win, and we're going to win today. In the days of old, Johnny Vanderbold would just take that ball in hand, and with Benedict right in front of him, they would set sail for the land. Then Doc Eager too, with a chosen few, would be all round everywhere, and before they'd quit,